And it's a hello from me and a hello to you. There's some bit of news. Could be a global first. Actually, it's not. It comes out in JP as well. A new part two has arrived for the Heroes crossover celebration, and it's no other than an Android 21. Now, of course, this is on the Twitter page, so no matter what language you speak, there'll be something for you. It looks like we have a brand new 21. We have a banner unit, another 21. So this is like she's like evil, and this one is a super class. Extreme physical, which is always nice, and another super AGL. So we'll go from two to four. When we think about the existing two, yeah, easy A, fairly solid, respectable lead, and I can imagine we'll have an easy A area. She's free to play, is an easy A area. By the way, she's going to be fantastic to power up the SA of this one, and of course to power up the SA of these two. So look, without further ado, let's just jump straight into it. I'm sure I'm late, but unlike my other fellow YouTubers, I have an actual job and etc. etc. So I can't be on this all the time, and I'm not a hardcore player nor a hardcore whale. So let's view this from a normal playing perspective. So brilliant. Let's have a look at what we got. So we appear to have a Android's margin power or Peppy Gals, the full 170, with the additional 30% for those who belong in power absorption or crossover. Okay, so margin power and power absorption, you could probably say, is the 200% lead. That means all the margin boos are. So that could be pretty good. 200% leads for them, pretty great. And that would also include the likes of like some cells. Androids and power absorption, yeah, that's some of the cells. Peppy Gals and crossover, probably, yeah, you could arguably you could swing it, but they might be better over on a pure crossover. Peppy Gals and power absorption, probably not outside of the girls themselves, but you can make it independently. So I like how it's Androids, margin power, or Peppy Gals. So there is some good use out of that. So we have 150%. Okay, all allies get 2 key. Okay, that's really nice. An additional 120% to stats when attacking, and a 50% chance to dodge within the same turn. Nice. Okay, so that's pretty good. So you super attack again, extra 120% and a 50% chance to dodge there afterwards. But it's on attack, so anything afterwards you have a chance to dodge. An additional 2 key 60% attack for 3 turns after evading an attack. Okay, nice. That helps with super attack. Launches an additional normal that has a 50% chance of becoming a super attack. That's nice. We need to see. Looks like she raises by 30% for the turn. So that's nice. You have another additional normal that has a 70% chance of becoming a super attack, from which the character performs the third attack in battle. Okay, we'll go through that in a moment. You disable the enemy's action once within the turn when the character performs the sixth attack in a battle. Once only, and a 70% chance to crit from the next attack. Okay, so a lot to unpack here. So let's have a look. Of course, and then there's an active skill, of course, which is all great, and super attack effect. So you raise stats by 30% with a 50% chance to stun the enemy. That's good. 50% chance to stun the enemy. So that just basically means then additionals is basically the way to go. Hmm. Okay, we'll tuck into the active skill at some point. Let's break this down because those with active skills, they generally tend to fix the issues. So we see the possibility of doing additionals, which is built in. So you could probably argue then that you go crit or dodge, but then again, she has crit on the next turn. So could you go dodge? But then she has dodge built in. So let's break it down. 150% and all allies get 2 key. So on attack, you get, on attack, you get within the same turn 120%, plus your 30% from your super. You have one additional normal, which has a high chance of becoming a super attack flat out. So that's 2 attacks. Right, so that's your second one. You launch another normal that has a 70% chance, but only if you've done 3 attacks. So you do your one, you do the other additional normal. If the hidden potential system procs, then you will trigger the fourth, this one, which has a which. So you'll trigger that. So you will need to keep chaining these attacks. This is where crits could come into play because they have all the you're going to daisy chain these attacks, for which if you do that third attack in a battle, you'll have a 70% chance to do a super attack, for which has a 50% chance to stun. So you're going to have your 50% chance to stun, another super attack, 50% chance on that, and another 50% chance on that. And then, of course, your hidden potential system. You could theoretically have four quadruple chances off a flip the coin, which could be interesting. This bit here, you disable the attacked enemy's action once when you perform the sixth attack in battle, and then you have a 70% chance to crit from the next. So annoyingly, it's because it's just once only. It's not as if it's every sixth. Where that sixth attack lands, you don't know. No, obviously against one opponent, fine. You could swing it to the point where you're going to be safe, aren't you? That's basically going to be it. I suppose if the sixth attack you were the floater, then you'd enter the next round and whoever was in slot one would have an easier time. You could do that, but you'd have to work it out because she's going to have that within turn 3 to 5 because you're gonna because she's doing all these additional normals and which all count towards. So that's interesting. From your next turn, you're going to have a 70% chance to crit. It's it's fine, but it's like once only. So it's not as if it's every 6 attacks. Well, I mean that would have been pretty great, right? Because then then perhaps you could rely on that a bit more. So that's fine. So reasonably, she seems fairly fine. It all depends then what the numbers are for her stats, what she's going to end up putting out as. But yes, so we'll then quickly check out her her active skills. So we'll see what she's rocking out as. Yeah, so okay, there's a quick view of her stats. So then she has an awakening, right? What is the awakening actually? So let's have a look. So you can transform, can be activated when facing only one enemy from the 5th turn. Wow, so you go against one enemy, and it's from the start of battle once only. Okay, so what happens when you're against one enemy? Well, it looks like she transforms into this. Fair enough. Looks pretty flashy. Okay, so let's see what she does. So she recovers 30% HP. Okay, that's fine. That's nice. It's nothing overpowered, but it's pretty good. So 30% HP. You get 210%. So that's a big jump. 60% already. And she's already on a 200% lead with fairly respectable people coming into this. So all allies still maintain 2 ki, which is nice. She still maintains the additional 2 ki, but now she gets 121% when attacking. So it's literally gone up by 1%. But sure, you do reduce damage received by 21%. Okay, that's nice to have. With the extra 60%, it's nice to have. Okay, so plus an additional defense 60% within the same turn after receiving an attack. Fine, that makes nice. And then 2 additional attacks. Each of these have a 70% chance to become a super attack. And then you recover 21% HP when you're 60% or less at the end of every turn. Okay, so this basically fixes everything. Because if she has this start off the bat, then she'd be pretty decent. But obviously, you can only get this against one enemy and from the 5th turn. So Super Battle Road, no. Extreme Super Battle Road, no. I mean, there are some where you come across just with like one enemy who's really powerful. Arguably, you could have multiple people, it goes on, or like 2 or 3 people, 2 people, and it goes on to like the 5th turn. You then transform, but then you only get one turn and she just absolutely wastes them. So you're looking at Fighting Legend events, or you're looking at the Red Zone events, for which I'm not entirely too sure she's going to be strong in. So this is nice. Obviously, the number 21 comes in, so 210%, it's got your 21 here, 21% damage reduction. It's nice. So the heal's nice, the extra's nice, still maintains 2 ki, that's nice. The damage reduction goes well complementing because you get an additional 60% defense from that attack. Not saying that she's a slot 1 unit, but she can hold her own more than the likes of the new LR Super Saiyan 4, who is allegedly a slot 1 unit, but he's absolute ass. He is a total shape, but like this girl legitimately could possibly be so. And of course, you have 2 additional normals all smushed together, each of which have a 70% chance. Your super attack effect looks like she still has 30% for the turn, and let's see, does it tell us? And you recover 5%. So if you went additionals for the crit for the stun chance, you'd now be getting heal. So 5% HP, your double would be. Well, think about this. She does 2 additional normals, each of which has a 70% chance, plus your hidden potential system. So that's 4 super attacks, so that's 20% HP, of which, if you are under a certain threshold, under 60%, you get an additional 21. So there's a point where if you fall below a certain amount, she's just going to heal you right back up to the top, theoretically. Depending on her links, and by the looks of things, she doesn't have it. She doesn't have the stuff like margin power, where that is also a heal. I think it's margin power, so that's a bit of a shame. But yes. So what else is it showing us for here? All right, she has an active skill within the transformation, can be activated against still only one enemy from the next attacking turn. Okay, so you transform, and then the next turn this happens. So it's not instant; it's delayed by a turn, but it's no other hoops to jump through. 100% raise to attack, ultimate damage. Disable the next action just once, and within this turn, it applies to super excellent effect. Okay, so she's going to hit hard. No doubt that attack is not really going to be not her downfall. So that's fairly good. So in this particular form, she's great, but it all then like for example, the team that she's rocking on. So like androids. I mean, if we're talking like Cell Max, then no, I don't think so. I mean, she has 21% damage reduction and additional defense, but you need honestly like a million defense, and there's very few people who can even cut it. If she had guard in this within the same turn after receiving an attack for X amount of turns, sure, then she might be. So when we're talking red zone, yeah, probably, right? I don't think she's going to be on fused fighters, which means then that she can't. She's not, but we can go over this shortly. She is on crossover, which see the problem is crossover would be Vegeto's team, Vegito Super Saiyan 4 Physicals team, who's on a 180. So a fairly legitimate team, but you would struggle with the links, and we'll go through in a moment to touch this out. So we're realistically looking at androids, because androids, you can see here, would be the best thing. She does have big bad bosses, which is a nice thing going for her, which will work on androids and margin power. So and power absorption. So that's nice. Peppy Gals, she would lose out on big bad bosses. She would lose out on, well, likely Metamorphosis and likely Android Assault. Metamorphosis would be like Ribrianne, who again is pretty solid, but generally they don't work side by side. I mean, they would have Battlefield Diva, which is a massive 3 ki, which is literally the linchpin of Peppy Gals. So it's a bit wonky. I mean, you're either going to be on a crossover based team, but with Peppy Gals, or you're going to be on androids and power absorption, margin power kind of deal. Big bad bosses and metamorphosis really will help out in terms of who she can link well with. If we were to kind of estimate her as an idea, then we're able to see kinda what she's after. So this will be more or less the spectrum of what we're getting, right? So we're going to see. It makes sense as well because we have a few crossover people on here, but we're talking like it's Metamorphosis and Big Bad Bosses, which is kind of triggering everything here. Android Assault, Battlefield Diva, Brainiacs. In fact, she has basically the same link set. Interesting. There's a few things that do change. So obviously, Big Bad Bosses is one of them there. So it looks like she gains Big Bad Bosses. So her links as off here we go. So she has Brainiacs, Metamorphosis, Android Assault, Shocking Speed, Battlefield Diva, Scientist, and Fierce Battle. Scientist becomes Big Bad Bosses. So I suppose so she's hurting herself. So you need to get to that fifth turn to transform, then you become better. Of which then this turns to Big Bad Bosses. So she's great. Androids, Margin Power, Crossover, Transformation Boost, Battle of Wits, Peppy Gals. I can see her having use for all of these basically. It's just whether or not, because like Big Bad Bosses would imply a um because like she's not extreme in this, so to imply, so I don't strictly understand where they're going from because Big Bad Bosses is generally an extreme class thing, and yet she's a super class with Big Bad Bosses, which is a bit weird, right? Because how are you going to link that? Well, you're going to link it on crossover, but you're going to link it on androids, I suppose. But you got to transform. Yeah, it doesn't make any sense. Um, in this point, arguably, you might have been better with scientists just to stick around. At least then Peppy Gals would have had a slightly better roster because you could work scientists with like the Bulmers. So there is that at the least. Huh. Okay, interesting. We'll watch this quick little video as well, just to give us an idea. Okay, so that seemed okay. So that's flashy. So that the first one was, of course, the the banner unit that's coming up, and then of course she has some pretty decent, pretty long animations, but sure, pretty flashy, pretty decently done. Okay, so let's jump into the next one, who is the banner unit, who appears to be an evil 21. So this is interesting. There she is. This is with the cell absorbed. So fantastic. So let's see what we're going to get. Yeah, okay. So it looks like we have then. So let's have a look. So it looks like she's going to be, I can presume, a 130% already. This looks pretty promising for 4 turns. So let's have a look. So power absorption is indeed 3 key 130%. So that's fine. So we have an entrance animation. Interesting because the new one doesn't have that. There's an entrance animation upon the entry turn. So okay, that's nice. So we have 120% and a great chance of launching an additional super attack for 4 turns for when you appear. And a 50% chance to launch an additional super from the fifth turn from entry. Okay, so that's so wow. Okay, and she what? What was that? She greatly raises for 4 turns. Wow. So that's pretty bonkers already. For first 4 turns, you have a 70% chance of doing additional super. And then from then on, after five onwards, it's just what, 50%? Okay, that's pretty bonkers. 3 key and 210%. Okay, so that's nice. So she gets the additional 120%. So she gets the 120% and chance for 4 turns in the character's end of turn. Right. Okay, so she gets 210% start of turn plus an additional 120%. Because that looks like it maintains, which is pretty weird unless it's worded differently. But she gets 3 key, 210%. An additional 90% attack on attack reduces damage received by 21% against one enemy. Okay, nice. 50% chance to crit against two or more enemies. Okay. Guaranteed crit if you're under 60% HP at the start of turn, or if the target's HP is less than 30%, and then you recover 30% HP with each final blow delivered, and you recover HP with Candy. Dude, is she not better than the new unit? What the hell? What the actual hell? This is insane. I'm reading this, and you get 120% to stats, and then you get the 70% chance to super for 4 turns, and then it drops to 50% from the fifth turn from the character's entry, starting from the fifth turn. So does she have 120% anyway on top of the 210? Which would imply that she's almost as strong as the new unit. She has damage reduction. She has options for one and two enemies. Well, the damage reductions against one enemy, but chance to crit against multiple enemies. She gains health back, a significant amount of health with each final blow delivered. It's not as if it's not impossible. What the hell? What the hell? Okay, so she seems pretty stacked on that, and of course, she greatly raised attack and defense for 4 turns. So she has additional. So you could literally go to full dodge because she's got chance to crit against two or more enemies. Sure, you honestly could go full dodge because she has there's no point going for additionals because the chances are you're going to get this way quicker than anything else. Turn three, she's going to be fully built up. I mean, theoretically, by the end of turn one, you could actually quadruple. Yeah, so you have 1, 2, 3. You could potentially enter turn three fully built up. You could. She could do it all. I don't think there's a unit that can do that. That's insane. So hopefully she doesn't have a pretty poor stat wise in terms of defensive or offensive ability because she seems pretty good. So in terms of links, right, okay, so she has Metamorphosis and Big Bad Bosses, Android Assault, Shocking Speed, Fierce Battle, Battlefield Diva, Fear and Face. She's designed to work with the transform version of the AGL one, right? Fine. Only except she has the link set for which the AGL one needs off the bat. She has arguably, she has arguably a better defense super attack effect. So there's, I mean, the other one has a 30% chance, not a 50, but it's only for the turn, not for 4. But again, versus a 50% chance to stun, which is pretty good. But then again, she's more focused against one enemy because of her transformation skill. For which, tell me a single enemy that is going like that from any reasonably difficult event where you can actually stun them. Exactly. Or rather, tell me where it's not in the first phase, and tell me where you can stun them in the latter end, where it really matters. And you'll find that it's probably none. I'm sure there might be someone out there, but I'm sure it's probably none. Yeah, so she's better. That's so weird. That is absolutely weird. I like this, but yeah. We've talked about the links, we talked about their categories, we talked about how to build them. But the question remains then is, should you summon? Should you summon for these units? Honestly, no. It's very near December. It's very tempting to put your payday into this, right? But we'll have Christmas. We still have part two of the Super Saiyan 4 Goku. Released a video for LR Baby's Easy A, and it's going to come alongside a yellow coin banner for a 200% lead for Extreme AGL Omega Shenron, and he's going to be for GT Bosses, who has a very terrible banner. But I'm telling you now, she will just be full of. You'll have STR 21, you will have some Peppy Gals, and you might have some extremely old units in there. This will not be a great banner. Not really. I'll be it unless they put like Gamma 1 and Gamma 2 because it's androids. Then you could start to argue. AGL Cell, you could start to argue. Perhaps they could throw in Intel or Cell. I mean, these are all things. If they start to throw them in, yeah, it'll sure be a better banner than Omega. But the point is, also in December, we're going to have the Christmas Step Up banner. That might just happen just for one rotation. And then there's the New Year Step Up banner, which is 3 rotations, each requiring 200 stones a pop. Then there's the New Year banner, which, of course, enter 2023, and we had Enraged Gohan and Power Awakened Piccolo. So, take what it is that you will. So probably a massive miss, unless 21 is just 100% something that you like. Unless she is your girl and something that you just need to have, then fine. Summon away. But honestly, you probably won't. Anyway, that's going to be it for this video. It's gone on long enough. Read the Twitter if you must. This is the global one's just main account, so that's fine. Anyway, thank you very much for watching, and if you liked it, brilliant. And if you didn't, that's